Hey Booslings, and welcome to another build video. I hope that you enjoyed the last one when we did the Daisy Bloom house. This one is actually going to be inspired by Mr. Moose and I and our potential dreams to have a house at some point. Obviously, it's super freaking expensive to do that right now, and we moved too much for that to happen. But all that said and done, I thought it would be super fun to do this video. I also made us in The Sims, so you'll get to look at that in like the screenshot of the thumbnail for this video. So if you want to see it, I made both of us and our three fur babies, our little kitty cats. And in this one, I am going to try and talk it through. Honestly, this build took me 3 days. Total. So you're gonna see some cuts in and out where I restarted the next day because it took a really long time and I'm a really slow builder and I changed my mind a lot, which you're gonna see and maybe get frustrated with this entire video. So just for a little context, number one, I definitely chose like the smallest freaking lot in this world. The world that I have is part of the new horses pack. So there weren't a lot of lots available, and I, like a dummy, decided to make the family and then try to move them in. So number one, they had limited funds, and number two, all the other houses I couldn't select at the time because I wasn't in Manage Worlds and I couldn't like just demo something and, you know, like replace it with what I wanted to. So I made do, and you may hate it, and that is totally valid. It took me a lot of time to really get the structure down and get what I wanted into the build, a lot of rearranging, a lot of second guessing myself. Like, oh, at one point I was like, do I just like save what I have now, save it to my personal library in The Sims and demolish a lot and reset it so that I have more room? But then I was like, no, take the challenge. You've done this to yourself, so suffer. So that's what I did. I'm also the other problem was I really wanted to create a barn because we would love to have horses or livestock or something one day. So I definitely wanted, again, since it's inspired by potentially a future home for us, I wanted it to have those elements as much as possible. And given the small lot, it was super difficult to make sure that the barn did not outshine the freaking house that we would have to live in. I even kind of thought about making a second level in the barn for like a separate living space or like quote unquote storage or something. But I ended up not doing that because you'll see at the very end that this house ended up being 3 stories tall, and you're gonna see this 2-story portion, this 2-story build, the majority of the video before we even get to the moment where we decide we need a 3rd level. Just because it wasn't working out space wise, I forgot that, you know, in order to get upstairs you have to have stairs to get up. So that's kind of where we landed. So as you can see here, we are getting the main structures down. So I've got the barn down for the most part. That will also change just a little bit once I start building out the actual like design and getting the stuff that you need in there. And then I also wanted to have this kind of like upper deck portion where there's like a little, you know, a balcony of sorts on the back. But then of course, I always dreamed of having like a beautiful kind of wraparound porch. Obviously, I do not have the space for that here. So we made do with just a little front porch that you could still technically sit on if you wanted to. And I put my quote wraparound concept on the back where we have like actual rocking chairs and it'll have like a little terrace thing. So that's kind of what I did there. And then in and out as I need to mention things, of course, I'll just kind of chime in. Also, I don't know why this happens. I don't know if it's a me glitch or if I had, you know, because I had the move objects on, but sometimes the windows and the doors just like glitch out and you can't see through them anymore. So that's super weird. But just know that it's, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. So this is where I'm building out, just trying to get the basics of windows and doors. They also change so much. And by the end of the video, I cannot say for certain whether I like what happened with the windows situation. I don't know. I feel like if you look at normal houses, they have like a standard set of windows around the house, right? Like even if it doesn't make total sense on the outside, you know, it makes sense for the inside of the house. it was just kind of a mess, to be honest, and I'm not that good. I love symmetry, which is my problem, because in this build there were just so many weird irregularities I had to work around on the inside of the house that created issues with the windows and like building walls in between. So that was great. And also picking the outside of the house. Now, I don't think I love the house color that I picked. I love the barn color, but I wanted to have enough contrast between the house and the barn. And you'll see that in a bit. I don't know why I'm fooling around with the outside because I got so frustrated with like the structure on the inside and just not really loving it. So anyway, but feel free to leave suggestions, you know, once you get through the build. You know, I ended up going with kind of like an off-white vertical shiplap kind of look, which is great. And I'm gonna yawn now because I just finished the video also and I am exhausted. So I don't know, feel free to leave your suggestions as well for any, you know, anything that you see, anything that you like, anything you don't like. I always love to read the comments. So if you have like suggestions and things like that, just let me know. The pauses in between are also me contemplating my life or going to get a drink to separate myself from the frustration. I love these builds. I really enjoy building in The Sims. Even if it's just casual and I'm just not recording at all, but oh my gracious, does it get frustrating, especially again, when you're like me and you limit your space, because you can already see that. Look, one of the other things that I severely dislike in Sims, not that you even know that I exist in the slightest, but one of the biggest problems I have is not being able to build at the edge. So you'll see with both the house and the barn, if you've never played The Sims before, you cannot actually take the building portions like walls and things, you can't actually make those all around that white square that you see. So if I could shift everything slightly to the left or right to that line, it would actually kind of open things up a little bit more. And even just pushing the barn back into the far corner would have given me a little bit more space to run with. But, you know, it's not something that you can do in The Sims, which is unfortunate, but you know, we make do. I still think it turned out well, don't get me wrong. For what it was, it turned out pretty okay. I love the windows in this pack. So I have not played with the horses yet, but just getting to build with their stuff, and I think we even did a little bit with the Daisy Bloom house as well, where we got to build just a little bit with the items that they have for the new country pack. It is so beautiful. I love all the wood tones. I love the, you know, it's pretty authentic. Having worked with horses previously, it's pretty authentic to kind of the fencing and the barn styles that you would be looking at. So I was very pleased with that overall, and being able to play with that and get a feel for all of the colors and how they worked together. I know traditionally you would probably look at a big red barn. I love green. I would love a beautiful big green barn with the kind of orangey yellowish wood that's on the front with the doors. That's like my dream. I love like the off-color kind of rusted copper look. I just think it's gorgeous. So you're going to see a lot of that influence on the barn, obviously. And I did put a chicken coop in there. I think it would be super fun to have a chicken coop. If you have chickens, let me know. Let me know what kinds you have. My dad has chickens. They love it. Him and my stepmom get fresh eggs all the time, and it's super cool. And they're all different shapes and colors and sizes. So one day it'd be super cool to have that. But in this build, we're just kind of putting them off to the side because I struggled to figure out where to put that because, again, space and limitations and all that great stuff. But I think where they ended up, I really like. Now, also realistically, I did forget a couple of things. Number one, in the barn, I do eventually, there's a new feature in The Sims where you can customize the tiles on the ceiling as well. So stereotypically, in all the previous Sims, if you notice, but you're not looking at the ceiling necessarily when you're playing the game, but it's typically just a white ceiling, no matter what kind of wallpaper you use or anything like that. But now they've introduced this wonderful new tool that you can actually use to tile the ceiling in pretty much any of the patterns that are available, probably all of them, the patterns that are available in these regular tiles for the floor. So that's really cool and everything. And I did it in the barn, and then of course completely forgot to do it in the house. Realistically, like I said, we're not just looking into the ceiling all the time. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but I did just want to mention that in case you download this, which it is now on the gallery. So if you want to, feel free. Also feel free to make modifications and share them. I'd love to see that. But if you do, just know that the only ceiling that was actually done was the barn ceiling. Go me. I got so I also get distracted, if you haven't noticed. Like, I'll start working on something and then I see something in like the items, and I like move it so that I don't forget it, which is exactly what I did with all the pet stuff. Because if you don't know, I do have 3 cats, and this was again a house inspired, you know, by our current little family and the potential for what we wanted. So I wanted to make sure I had all their stuff. I'll like pick things out. I'll be in the middle of like doing this, for example, and then I'll take a look and it's like, oh, well, I like this and I think I can use this somewhere. So I just like pull it out. You can actually, you can actually see our little characters. I originally started building this with the family in the background. So in the upper right, you can kind of see us just hanging out with all the babies. But anyway, I do eventually go to manage world because I forget exactly what was giving me issues. There was something that was, it's later on in the video, but there was something that was giving me an issue, and I decided that it might be easier just to come out of the light. Oh, I know what it is. So in the front, when we begin building the little garden in the front of the house, because I can't control the seasons, because it's just whatever season I chose for the family to move into, I can't actually see the colors of the flowers that I wanted to put in, and I wanted to be very specific about it. So I went to manage worlds eventually so that I could just see the actual color palette of the flowers I'm using, which seems minor, but it's very important. So anyway, I'm building out this cute little deck back here. Excuse me. I originally thought I wanted like this picnic table esque kind of feel. It's very, you know, country with like a mix of this wicker furniture. So like when I was growing up, my grandparents had a lot of wicker furniture, and it was in their sunroom-ish, like the front room. That was kind of like the fancy living room, I guess. Like we would sit in there every now and then, but it's not like, you know, it's not the den with the TV or anything. It's just like the front room off the kitchen. But we had a lot of wicker furniture, and I knew that I really wanted to include that, even if it was outside somehow, because to me that's very, very homey, just because of why, you know, how I grew up. But I wanted a contrast with like that wicker furniture along with the wood tones, and I thought, like I said, I was going to go with this picnic table because it's very, you know, out in the woods, kind of, you know, hanging out with the fam, if you're at like a park or something, but like in your backyard. And then I felt something was weird just having this fireplace so awkwardly like in the middle of nothing. And I guess realistically, this particular style of fireplace, I could have gotten away without having this back portion, but I ended up getting rid of it anyway. And you'll see that in a little bit. So, but I was trying to build like this mock kind of thing for the fireplace. It just did not work out, so I left it, and as you will see a lot in this video, I moved on to something else that didn't hurt my brain. I did get rid of that picnic table. I think this oh geez, oh yeah, you're gonna love this. This was one of the things you'll start to see. I get a little ragey with the with the mouse. So I'm trying to raise this stupid pillow onto the, I do eventually just give up, but I'm trying to raise this stupid pillow on the back of this chair, again, to just give it a little bit of a homey look. But when I pressed 9 instead of Control 9, which is what you can use to like raise things, it would just send me into the stratosphere, both physically and mentally. So I also gave up on that and moved on to something else. And it took me a really long time to realize what I was doing wrong. So you're going to see it jump like that quite a bit. Like just literally right there. I make myself so mad even in the past. But yeah, I struggled with this just a little bit, trying to get the thing to work. Anyway, I found out halfway through the build what I was doing wrong, so I do eventually correct myself, but then I gave up on the pillows and never went back to them, so there's no pillows there. This is where I decided I wanted to slide everything over because I thought what would be cool, and also because I ran out of room on the inside of the barn, would be to have like this sort of tack room that you would normally think about having, which turned out to be really pretty and actually I feel like really enhanced the barn. So with that, we're just building it out, giving it a good once over with the windows and the door, trying to figure out which one makes the most sense here. And then of course, getting ready to fill it. So I made pretty much all the flooring the same except for like where the horse would be, obviously, because it's going to be a little bit different. And then I just started kind of decorating the actual inside, which was really fun. And you're going to see that where I see something and I'm like, yeah, this would be really great. This would be dope somewhere else. And then I just get distracted and I put it on the table, which is just my personality. It's fine. So anyway, filling it with a bunch of stuff, kind of trying to make it as authentic as I possibly can, with things that, you know, make sense but also fit, which is really important, because it's kind of a tight space. And if you don't know, even though you can size things up and down in The Sims and, you know, of course, you know, kind of fit things like these hay bales, for example, kind of where you want to, and use the move objects to get it stacked really nice. At the same time, it can be a little tricky to, you know, make functional things fit in the barn as well. So like the chair in the corner, I wanted to make sure that was functional, for example. Yeah, so that's kind of where we ended up. And then once I ironed all of that out, I really wanted to search for the right window here, and I think I found it. I really like this because I feel like it still needed something on the inside. And then I was trying to get the tones right. I realized I didn't get the correct tone, so I just started editing some of that, making sure it looked good. I got this trailer, which is super cool to have. Obviously, it's massive, so I've just parked it right next to the house. I think it looks good. And also one thing that I learned from other sim players that I really admire, James Turner and Deligracy kind of taught me this, but eventually when we start getting the garden in the front here taken care of, we will go through with terrain paints around the buildings and the little areas like the walkways and things, because if you put like dirt and spray thing, it kind of makes it look more authentic, if you will. And this is where I decided I absolutely needed to go to Manage Worlds and do this, because I wanted to be able to see these flowers. So that's what I did there. I'm gonna build this cute little garden in the front. I wasn't 100% sure. Well, am I ever 100% sure? No. I'm never 100% sure what I want this to look like until it starts coming together by itself. It's often a lot of finagling and going back and deleting and readjusting once I find something that starts to work, and I'm like, no, I gotta rework the other items here. And like I said before, I really enjoy symmetry. So yeah, I have those bushes out front that kind of align there with this really pretty pink one in between. But I do kind of break that up a little bit, because even if we are planting, you know, normal things in a garden and, you know, things like that, it's often gonna kind of grow on its own too and kind of be less authentic if I don't kind of break up this kind of stagnant look with too much symmetry. Like if you're planting your own garden, obviously you can do that for sure, but I feel like maybe like this is something that was planted like a really long time ago, and even though some of the plants are still coming back and they're beautiful and gorgeous and provide this like bushy look to it, we might have things that have cross-pollinated or something like that. Try to be a little more authentic to something that would look, you know, out in nature, I guess, even though it's literally just in front of the house. So I also don't know how authentic it is to have sunflowers back there, so don't come for me. I don't know plants. My grandma is significantly better at plants than I am, so I have no clue. And then this is what I'm talking about. So like this this look, and I do eventually, I just got rid of it because I didn't like the way it was looking, but this just like little bit of light terrain paint that kind of makes it look like worn a little bit, even around like the walkways and the mailbox and just areas that would make sense for travel and things. The other Sims creators really make this look easy, and it also kind of brings it to life a little bit, which is great because obviously in real life, which to be fair, The Sims isn't, and that's, you know, that is what it is, but in real life you would have like where the house settles, or, you know, where your main walkways are, especially if they're not like paved. Kind of like this back patio, so like obviously you can't terrain paint over that, but if you're walking out of doors, or, you know, as the house ages, things like that, it's gonna have a little bit of wear and tear around the edges and things, runoff, water, etc. I'm also, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the one thing that I forgot, which I'm kind of sad about now that I'm thinking about it, because those posts in the front would have been perfect, but anyway, the other thing that I would love to have in our home one day are the rain chains, because they do a really good job of circulating the water into things like a garden or a water collection bucket and things like that. So they're not on here, but just know the thought was there at some point. The thought is there now in the future where I cannot physically change it. So there's that. So we are building out this cute little porch. The color palette is kind of willy-nilly, which I think is also pretty common. I don't look at all of our things in our house and see like a ton of continuity, if we're being honest. I feel like that's just kind of what happens. So having this kind of like mismatch of colors and items that were bought separately kind of makes me really happy, but you'll see in other rooms that we actually start to build out that there is a little bit of, you know, color palette or kind of look and structure that do flow together. I also use tons of wallpaper. I originally thought that I was going to do like just a basic wall with like the double crown molding on top and bottom for the baseboards. And then I decided that it looked too cookie cutter, I guess. Here in the States, we have a lot of, and I'm sure it's other places too, but we have a lot of houses that are built like commercially. They're housing companies. They have a set model of the home that they create, and then that's just kind of what you get. And you can walk into somebody else's house and it look almost identical to what you have. And I'm just not that kind of person. I love color, and I would love to be able to experiment with color and wallpaper and moods in the house and not just have it so like too crisp, I guess. I don't even know if that's the word. So anyway, when we get inside, you'll see some of that influence on the color palette and things. And then here, I'm just kind of giving our bees some flowers to hang with, which I think turns out really cute and looks really good with the patio. And then I start finagling more with this patio, because then I feel I feel a little empowered, and I'm like, yes, okay, I can come back to this. Little did I know I left those bushes right there for like eons, and it's just kind of weird to have them hanging out on the patio. But I do eventually delete them. So here I'm just kind of fussing over the house itself. I like the way that it turned out. See, throwing that flower over there because I want to use it in the front. I like the way it turned out, but it was kind of back and forth with this patio. On the one hand, I really wanted it to feel, you know, that we could have really great get-togethers, because, you know, I just feel like that's, you know, what I like doing with my family, because I don't get to do it very often, unfortunately, just because we move so much. And so I would love to be able to have a community. We've even discussed like a compound with our friends and family, which would be super cool. So I really wanted this patio to kind of embody that and say, you know, you've got tons of room for people, you've got lots of seating, you know, little things that you could do, but then also, you won't see it now, but I'll eventually put like a little garden thing on the side there, because I would love to have not like a full-fledged greenhouse situation, but I would definitely love to have some kind of gardening, or, you know, for fruits or vegetables or herbs or what have you, just kind of on the back there. So I start to build that out at some point. I don't know when. I'm over here just like, oh, I wonder where this pot would go. Meanwhile, the rest of the patio is an absolute shambles. which is just my brain. So I apologize if that's also triggering to everybody who's watching this to see me go back and forth so much on some of this stuff. Because there's even, I think, moments where I like start on a room and then I like get distracted and I go to another room and start doing that because I got distracted and an item like made me think about it. So yeah. And I also love these lattices on the side. I think they're super pretty. I don't know if I showed it or not, but that I did extend out there the patio so that the fireplace actually butts up against the barn, which I feel, number one, gave me more space to work with for the patio, as well as you know, maneuvering some of these items, but also just overall looks better. It's something about having it butted up against something and not just in limbo in the wild. And don't get me wrong, yeah, your fireplaces can do that, especially the outdoor ones. Like, they don't really need to be up against something. In fact, it probably shouldn't be for safety reasons, but it's The Sims, so we're gonna do what we want. And then I saw this trick recently, actually, and I wish I could tag the creator, but I can't remember who it was. It might have actually been a Sims repost where they like saw somebody else do it and they're like, oh, this is really cool. But basically you can take trees or other plants that, you know, are just there. You can size them down, and then put them in these pots, which I think looks fantastic. And then you have your own special little DIY plant, and that's super cool. Oh yes, here we go. Yep, this is where I'm like, nah, I need like something over here. And then I just use the terrain paint to kind of give it, you know, that worn look. And then I'm like, well, what the heck do I do with this giant freaking umbrella and this giant table? Like, because I need it to look like there's not just, you know, plant pots out here. It has to kind of look like it's somewhat intentional instead of just like, oh, I'll just throw them out here. And there's definitely no room in the freaking front. That's for sure. I threw a horseshoe pit up there, and then as soon as I went to go like place it and do something with it, I was like, there's no room for this, which is super sad and disappointing. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if I ended up doing anything with those side tables out here. I'm about to really, oh, okay, so I did do something. I was about to say, I don't even know if I put anything on the side table or anything. Not that you have to. There's also something to be said for like blank space, right? Especially in The Sims. Like, I am definitely one to probably like over clutter a space, but I do that in my own space, so that's probably why I'm inclined to do it. But there's also nothing that you know, says that it can't be a blank space or like a, you know, a blank area. And then look, I love these things. So I happened upon this on chance. Like, they go into the freaking beams and it looks like, and it's just like a little thing. I guess it's a light. I don't know, it just looked really cool. And then I tried to do it up here and I realized they were too tall, sag. But I did it down there and it looks really great. And those were like the find for me. I was super happy about that. Oh, and there you go. You see, I like went up to the top and I was like, oh, these things don't fit. Maybe I should just start working on this. So that's what I did. So originally in this build, this floor was actually going to be the bedroom, because I was like, it would be super pretty to be able to like go up to your bedroom and, you know, sit on the porch upstairs and look at the beautiful view. Gorgeous, beautiful, love that. Oh, and then look at this thing. I loved this. I really tried. I tried it there. I tried it there. But it was like too big and I was really sad I couldn't use it, but maybe on another build. But anyway, you could like come up to your balcony in the mornings and see the sunrise or the sunset or what have you, and it'd be really peaceful and beautiful. So that's kind of what I imagined here. However, the problem came when we started working on the inside, and you'll see later on, but that floor actually ends up being the living room, and we build on top of it where the bedroom ends up being. So, and also here I go going back and forth, because like I went down there because I saw this cute little wagon, and then I just stayed down here and started pouring more stuff out here. Anyway, we eventually go back up. So yeah, this did eventually turn into a balcony for the second floor, which is fine. And then I went plant crazy. So, you know, I thought it was pretty. It needed stuff in the corner. I also... This frustrated the crap out of me. I have no idea why on one side this plant would disappear. And There's my rage rolling around. I tried everything to get this stupid plant up on the beam like this one was, but I don't even know why it wasn't. Sorry also if you can hear my cat. He's decided to jump on my desk and paw at everything, so I apologize if you can hear him. Oh, he's about to push the tissue box off. Yep, don't do that. Move. Cut it out. Just go. Yeah, go on. He likes to use this as a highway. Anyway, so I could not figure it out. So there's only one, Sag. It doesn't matter. There's tons of plants on this porch, okay? Way more than any one person ever needs. In fact, I'm going to be honest and say way more than I would even have on my personal porch. Can I be responsible for all of those plants? No. Do they look cute while they're up there? Yes. I didn't put anything else up there except for these lights. So I think it turned out cute. Overall, I really liked it, and I'm switching around again where I'm going back to the freaking... this is where I discovered the ceiling situation as well. I put it on the top there, and I was like, oh, that's the ceiling. And then I realized, no, it's not. It is not the ceiling at all, because, surprise, the ceiling's still blank. So this is me trying to figure out the ceiling. I ended up figuring it out for the barn, and then, like I said, completely forgetting it for the house, which is fine. But I think it actually looks really good. I mean, I imagine it's like just a wooden barn, you know? Maybe he's barn with it. So I figured that out. It looks cute. It looks great. And then this is also where I was contemplating, like, oh, and I skipped through that too because I forgot to hit record again. But I contemplated putting a second floor on top of there. And I originally tried to put like a ladder and stuff. It didn't work because it's a roof, and then I didn't want to build more up there, so I just gave up. So now we're on the inside, and I have the stairs down there. You'll see I originally tried to put them on the right side because I needed to build bathrooms and stuff on the inside, and I was trying to figure out the best way for a structure, right? Because usually you have like the kitchen and the living room, but I wanted to make sure that there was at least a bathroom downstairs, and at least on the second floor, of course, even if the downstairs one was just like a half bath. But I could not for the life of me figure out the best structure for this at first. And then once I had it down, and the stairs actually stay where they are now. But then I realized as I was building through, once I get to the second floor, because I forget about it entirely, which is just my brain, right? So I forget the second floor entirely, start building out the bottom floor, and then I realize in the bottom floor how much space I really do not have because I need to make an entire kitchen. I've got the half bath down there, and then I also need to make sure I have some kind of table and sitting area. I wanted to have like this makeshift foyer area. So it ended up getting really cramped, and then at some point I just decided I'm gonna put a giant table in the middle and I will figure it out upstairs, and that's exactly what happens. You'll also see me play a lot with wallpapers and trying to figure out the best one, whether it's the pattern, the color, etc. And I really struggled with this. I struggle with a lot of it because I just feel like I use the same things all the time. And this is where I was like saying before, like this double crown molding, I was like, yeah, that's pretty simple, and you know, it technically goes with everything, and you could match a whole lot of stuff with it and whatever, but it's so simple, and I feel like it's good for just a basic setup, like a basic look, and there's certainly nothing wrong with it. But for my own vibe and like in my own home, I just kind of wanted to get away from that, since that's basically all we have in the houses that we currently live in and like rent out. So I just wanted something fun and different and exciting, which is why you'll see all the different colors kind of going up on the wall. I was just getting frustrated because I was like, I want something fun, but like none of this really matches. And like, do I just do an accent wall, or do I just like wallpaper the whole room? I did eventually just wallpaper all of the rooms by themselves. This is where I was like, oh, do I do an accent? But then I felt like it looked weird because there's not like a look like this without the wallpaper on the top, which would have been great, but it doesn't exist. And I ended up going with this green, one, because I love green, and two, because something about it with the wood tone just really looked good. So I ended up going with that. And then for the bathroom, I end up tiling all of them just because I feel like that makes the most sense. I actually grew up with linoleum in our bathroom, so but I think tile is probably fine. And then I just kind of wanted to mock up the one upstairs, which also that bathroom remains in that corner but does shift slightly, so don't get too attached to it. Like I said, lots of reforming happening soon. So now down here you'll also see that the lights that I manually put up are driving me crazy, and I eventually just delete them and I never put them back, so you're welcome. Sorry if you liked them. And you'll also notice that somehow the kitchen wallpaper got on the outside of the house. I do eventually fix that as well, but it'll probably bug you until I do, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know. I did notice, but it was like well after this that I noticed. And this is where I decided I wanted to do kind of like an entry table, and just trying to get a feel for the kind of color palette I'm going with in here. I often do too much and have too much of a theme happening, because again, like the majority of the time, most of your pieces have like a theme, like you're gonna try and like pick things that make the most sense, but realistically, like some of your stuff is hand-me-down or stuff that you bought on a whim, and suddenly it's in a new house and you're trying to find function for it, so it's probably not all themed out. Which is why I kind of mix things up just a little bit. Like I love this gold table. I think it looks really good even with the green. I think it really complements the wallpaper, so, you know. And then I wanted to build this cute little closet because I was also thinking, like, do I have a coat rack? No, I do not. I have like a little closet, like you can walk in and put your coats and stuff. So I just built a little coat closet there because I thought it was super cute and a good use of that space so it wasn't just dead space. And I guess now we move on to the bathroom because I'm just gonna figure that out apparently. This bathroom was also tricky, and this is where the windows start to come into play a little bit. The windows there on the left inside or outside of the bathroom, they kind of give me a little bit of trouble, and I end up wanting to expand this a little bit because I forget that I have cats in this play and I need to make sure that I accommodate said cats. So I'm building the bathroom now, and the color in the bathroom stresses me out, and I end up adjusting that as well. Because I can't get the cabinets in the mirror. It just looks weird. But anyway, we end up adjusting it anyway, even though I choose everything in the end and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be perfect, and then I move it and adjust it and everything changes. So just kind of how it goes this entire build. You're probably tired of hearing me say that because it's literally the exact same. I also I really struggled with the cabinets. Again, like I wasn't too happy with the color inside of the bathroom necessarily, but I wanted it to feel different. I didn't want it to be cookie cutter. The cabinets, just for some reason, to my you know what, it probably was because at this point I've been playing for like between 2 days and my eyes were exhausted trying to look at all of this and look at all the colors. So that's probably why, if we're being honest. But I do eventually go with this crazy wallpaper. I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna do wallpaper everywhere. So downstairs, like the walls are kind of maximalist. But anyway, also because of the shape of the bathroom, things weren't sitting exactly right. So expanding it really helped that as well, because then I was able to more centralize the cabinet, and it didn't bleed into the wall as much, and I didn't have to do any adjusting. I also didn't really like the fact that everything felt really squishy as well, because you like walk in and you like ram your shin on the toilet, but then like what do you do with that space in the corner? Like this is me trying to figure out, do I add another one? And then they weren't lining up, and I realized they were like digging into the walls, and that really irritated me. So I got rid of the window and I was like, screw it, I'm gonna expand it. I need to put a litter box in anyway, and that's what I ended up doing. So this is where things start to get crazy with the adjustments to the layout. This is just one, but you'll see I did end up getting the litter box in there. I'm just finagling the lighting a little bit here, trying to figure out which looks best. Because, I mean, I don't know what y'all's bathrooms look like, but our bathrooms have like a light over our mirror. And I don't feel like the ones that they had, which are the little square ones I originally tried to put in there, they're just not bright enough, and they only point down. So I like this one that I ended up putting up there, because I feel like it projects a lot of light, and then I did end up putting like a gold kind of top light there. And then this is me saying like, do I need anything on the walls? No, the walls are the thing. And then I really struggled with the blinds are another thing that were weirdly struggling with me, or I was struggling with them, however you want to say it. This is me getting pissed about the lights, taking the lights down. And then we finally moved back out into the foyer area, and my mind at this point is like, I'm gonna have to tackle that kitchen soon. Like, I'm gonna have to figure this out. I have no idea. I originally assumed that the kitchen would be kind of small and like tucked into this corner on the right a little bit, and that like the living room would be kind of small and tucked against the wall where the double window used to be. The problem is there's the back door on that wall, and outside of that being a flow problem, it actually is a traffic flow problem for Sims. So they might not be able to get in and out of there if I had structured it the way I originally thought that I was going to. So I do end up adjusting that as well. And then you'll get to see me fight with this floating plant for like 10 years before I just move it. Yep, there we go. Some of these things, man, it's like it's just whatever. But I think it ended up looking pretty good. This is just me decking out the table, figuring out what other things I wanted. I wanted like mail and stuff, but apparently that's not what it's called. And then I just found it randomly, just threw it on the table. And then I love this plant. So that plant I actually use in other places as well because of how much I feel like it goes with this house. And I love this plant's vibe. Plant, I don't know what your name is. I didn't even look at you, but I do use you a lot. And I love you for that. So now here's the kitchen. You'll see I've got that door to the back out there. It's it creates a flow problem basically. And also I had this set up originally. You're gonna see me go through you know, a little bit of a kitchen shift as well here because for some reason, and I just don't know, like there's something odd, and it could just be the way that I made the house, but the grid must be off a little bit because everything was just like not sitting correctly, or like the flow was off. I did eventually settle on this kind of look, which I think is great because now you've got like a prep place. I wanted to put in a microwave because that's basically what I use a lot, and I do drink a lot of tea and coffee, so I definitely wanted to represent that and you know, have a table for that. But with The Sims, when you have a usable object like the teapot and the microwave, they have to be setting on a like snappable surface, so you can't auto adjust or like alt adjust any of those kinds of items because they have to be usable for The Sims, which they wouldn't be if you know, if it allowed you to auto adjust it. So the problem at this point is I wanted to put the little tea things on there, but I couldn't because it was blocking the teapot. So I had to finagle some shelving here, and then I just started decorating the crap out of the shelving instead of focusing on the bigger picture, which is, what is this layout? As you can see, this kitchen takes up the entirety of this room. Like, where am I gonna put a table? You might be asking, Moose, where the heck is the table? You'll find out because I didn't know either. I spent so long putting this chicken on top of this refrigerator and then moving it later. I couldn't even tell you when that table entered entered the picture here. And then also dealing with all the floating objects because I was, you know, alt moving them around and then shifting, and I couldn't really see where it was going, and the house was really tiny. I'm just making excuses. So anyway, I do think it turned out really cute and really well by the end of it, but this, I was stressing because I was like, I have to have this size kitchen. There's not really any other position with the way the house is made to like put it any other way, unfortunately. So it's just kind of where we ended up landing. So also, pretty much all of the curtains that I put up on this second floor and a little bit on the second and first floor probably, but basically all these curtains, I ended up changing those out. I didn't really like them to begin with, but it's all that I thought that I had. Come to find out that one of the other curtains, and I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head now because I went through so freaking many, but whichever ones that they were, I didn't realize that other patterns or other colors that they had eliminated the plaid that it came with originally. So I ended up changing these out, so don't get attached to these either because I hated them and I didn't really have another option, but I feel like you need curtains in your house. Anyway, I digress. The curtains were a big deal to me. So now just kind of deciding that I would like some upper cabinetry. Obviously, I already have the open shelves on the right there, so I couldn't do a whole lot there. So I decided to just make this little cubby at the top of the microwave. I wish and I don't know if you can, I doubt it because it's a usable object again, but it would be so freaking nice to have like a microwave in The Sims that could be like housed in the cabinet or like above the stove or something. That's how our microwaves have always been. They've always been like attached to the bottom shelf or whatever. So anyway, but instead they have to be put on an actual countertop. And then this is me finally having it sink in, like you're not going to be able to put you're going to have to put the living room upstairs. Like there's just no way you're going to be able to fit it down here. So I decided on this table, one, because it was with the country pack, and two, I think it looks super cute. And I was originally thinking I was going to put it up against that wall and put like maybe a bench or something, because that's also something I really want, like a benched like one side with regular chairs and one side with like a bench seat. But you don't have that in The Sims. So this was the next best thing. So that's what I did. Just picked out the chairs and kind of final touches on this, honestly. I think I finished up the downstairs pretty quickly after this part. I think I put a rug down and maybe finagle with some of the wall decor a little bit before I'm like, okay, all good. But I do like the way the kitchen came out. I do think it's super cute. Realistically, I'm gonna be honest with you, I hate stairs. So if I'm imagining my house, it's probably a ranch, but like we talked about in the beginning, I obviously ran out of room for myself, and that's what I get for just plopping us down and starting building right away. So it's great. Also, yes, I still see the wallpaper. I don't remember if this is where I see it or when I see it, but I do see it at some point and then I fix it. Oh, there it is. Yep, see, took care of it. Don't worry, I saw it. This is me just giving it a once over, deciding that now that I have one window there instead of the two that were originally there, that I want to put shutters on the outside, which I really think decorate it really nicely on the outside. I felt like it was just so bare and bland. And then here I am wondering what the heck am I gonna do up here, because if the living room is here, I have to have a third floor. Do I put a balcony on the third floor? Does that make it too small? I still have to add a bathroom. I still have to have stairs up here. This is me contemplating my life and going, what the heck were you thinking? And trying to make this happen. I finagled the stairs quite a bit before I realized that I actually have more room than I think that I do, because actually on the top floor originally, as you can see, there used to be a roof over that bottom half of the porch that we made. So I fussed with this for a while before I realized, like, oh, the porch is completely open now and I can actually pull that wall more to the back so that I have room to build all of the inside stuff and also put the roof essentially back. Oh, also, sorry if you can hear him. He's scratching again. He's getting so antsy. I think it's because I'm talking, but it's like I'm talking to nothing. I mean, I'm talking to you, but he doesn't know that. And then here I am realizing that I have a roof, and I undo everything that I did previously, and suddenly, voila, I have an entirely good to go room, and it kind of works itself out, which is fantastic. Got the stairs laid out. Now I will say some of that space on the top floor does end up being kind of dead space, just because of, you know, like I had to organize it a certain way. Again, if you have a different way of organizing it, I'd love to see it. But I try to utilize it in the end. And of course you'll see if you watch the rest of the build, but it's just kind of a little bit of a dead space. I do adjust the format for the bathroom to accommodate a laundry room on the top floor, so I try to use some of it, but you know, you can only use so much. And then this is me finagling windows, trying to distract myself from the second floor, and also forgetting to put an actual roof back onto the house, which is what I remedy here. So as we're going through here, just adjusting a little bit, those windows for some reason gave me a lot of trouble. Again, I must have done something weird with the grid. Whenever I build with the box wall build tool, it seems to make things off just a little bit. I don't really know why. Also, I don't usually play with the grid lines on because they bother me so much. I feel like I can't really see through the grid, which drives me bananas. So I usually turn them off, which is probably another reason that things are glitching in and out and aren't lining up correctly. So played myself, that's fine. So through this part, I'm just trying to find, again, with this freaking bathroom. You'll also notice that I forgot to tile this bathroom floor. And then I just neglect the bathroom entirely because I'm like, well, this looks fine. I'll have a little bit in there. And then I remember I also have cats, so I'm trying to put some cat things in there. I know I want that really big one up there at some point. I put a little toy down there, which is super cute. Again, just so I don't forget. Speaking of forgetting, did you notice that I forgot something in the kitchen? I managed to get the litter box in the bathroom, but do I have a way to feed these cats? No, I do not, and I'll remember that later. So again, have no fear. My brain rewired itself and remembered that cats have to eat. And in order to do that, you have to have cat bowls, which is super cool. What a concept. So, building out this living room, I was super happy with the fact that I ended up doing it this way. Again, I would never realistically want to climb up all of those stairs, let's be honest, but I feel like for this particular build, it really worked itself out because then every room, while separate and super annoying to have to walk up, they all had plenty of space to add the things that, you know, would normally need to go into a flat house. You know, this definitely worked out better. And also, I was trying to find furniture, again, that kind of had the theme I was looking for, but wasn't overly themed, so it kind of looked like things were mismatched and then kind of brought together by other items that were purchased later, but also cozy, because I don't know about you guys, but the one thing that I have a little bit of a problem, not a problem, but I struggle decor-wise a little bit in The Sims because sometimes it just feels like all of the items are either A, too colossally big, like exponentially huge, or they aren't, like they're too perfect. You know, like I like this couch because there's just a rando blanket just haphazardly draped over it. That is so me. We have tons of blankets in our house and I can guarantee you none of them look like cohesive or kosher together. So, that's kind of what I struggle with. I wanted this to feel cozy and lived in and like authentic to somebody who would be physically here and like using the space, which is just kind of hard to do, I feel like, in The Sims. So the clutter kind of helps because then you can, like I said, I don't want to over clutter the space and I often do, but I try really hard again to make it look like, you know, it's not just like plants everywhere because realistically, like I said, outside of the porch, I should not be responsible for that. I am not mentally ready for all of those plants, but I do have random boxes of crap, and I do have just like a pile like on this bookshelf of things that have a place on the bookshelf and should probably be somewhere else, but instead we put them there. And then I have a blanket basket, like you see. It doesn't, I would love a one that looks like a fox, but I have a blanket basket, but is the blanket in there all the time? No, it's usually just randomly dropped around the house because that's just what happens. So wanted to try and be authentic there. I also wanted to utilize every little bit of space I could because of how limited I felt. So I do try and tackle the under the stairs and apparently put all of the pots and pans underneath there for no reason. I try wardrobes, I tried storage, and then I was like, girl, you ain't got no computer in here. So, eventually, after trying all of these different things and deciding that they are too big, even when sized down, and they kind of like phase through the stairs, I do eventually decide that there should be a desk down there, which makes significantly more sense. This is me again contemplating my life, thinking, I think I was actually searching for a couple of things here, like Googling different items that might be available. Yeah, this is me, like, what options do I have? Like, is there anything that kind of suits the look I'm going for? And then I also try like this green shelf, which I actually really liked. When it sized down, it was like perfectly in there. But then I was like, what do I put beside it? Because I don't want to have that space so blank. Again, like I said, I do eventually just end up putting a desk there, get distracted by this wall shelving and decide I want the shelving there. And then I'm like, this could work, but with what? I tried this little thing, which looked cool, but I don't know what it goes with, so it kind of looked awkward. I decided I want that gardening thing downstairs. I ended up not using it, which is fantastic. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, a freaking desk, girl. You need a desk. You need a computer. So thankfully, my brain kicked in and we got a desk. And I just decorate this a little bit. Also, I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning. Honestly, because this was just supposed to be a fun build, there's no budget for this. I have no idea how much it costs in the gallery, but realistically, probably a lot, because you got two different buildings. One has 3 floors. They all have like, not like the best of the best stuff, but like the electronics aren't conservative, if you will. There's tons of lights in the house, so I know you probably have to place it with free build, and if you don't know those cheats, I highly recommend looking into them because they can be really useful when you're just trying to, you know, get something down for your Sims to play with and have a good time. And again, with these, I really hate these curtains. I genuinely do, but they're all I thought I had, so just bear with me. I was really happy with this curtain find though. Like, these curtains are so pretty, and they are from I think the Solani pack, if I'm not mistaken, or something similar, or maybe like the what is the archaeology one? It's one of those packs, but either way, the color palettes just make it look so less like tribal or tropical. Like, I think that pink looks fantastic, and it looks like something that you would have in your house even if you're not living in like a really tropical location, which is really great. Here's me finding clutter I wanted to put back on that desk, and then realizing that somehow, someway, my pot got removed. So I'm just putting it back. And this happens a lot. I just find things, I'm like, that would look so good there, and I just put it there. And then this is the part where it's the me deciding I don't have to have every little space filled up. So like, there's 3 snappable places on that table, and I end up not filling all 3 of them, because again, it's okay to have the dead space. This is remembering I need to feed the animals and putting the food bowls, which thankfully, by no planning on my part, fit so perfectly there. This is me giving my cats toys because they do enjoy playing with them. This is me deciding if I need to stress them out by putting a carrier in the game as well. What I didn't. There's no room. And even if there was, I don't want to stress them out in the game either. And then just decorating these shelves. Jeez, I forgot I just pulled out that statue. It's hard to see in the like menu here, like how big certain things are until you like pull them out of here and you're like, oh my gosh. Which is kind of what she said. I don't know. She might have said it. But I love the living room. I think it feels so cozy. I love that the desk is in there also. I feel like it gives it a good feel. The bathroom, I decided to make a full bath with like a shower. The one upstairs does have a tub, so you know, if you play this game and you have kids or a dog or something, I say kids lightly because there's only one, excuse me, I have the hiccups now, of course. There's only one bedroom. I feel like you could adjust it a little bit and probably get to maybe I'd say 2 max, but if you had kids or you had dogs or other things that required bathing, there is a full bath on the very top floor. Your sim will just have to climb 2 flights of stairs to get there. But they only have to climb 1 flight of stairs to get showers, which is great. And of course, multiple sims can use the bathroom if they need to all at once, because there's 3 bathrooms in here, so 2.5 total. Which I think is nice. You've got 1 on each floor, which I do try to do, because in a regular house you would kind of have that, or I would definitely want that, which is kind of the same thing. And then this is me also figuring out what to put on this wall. I end up doing kind of like this collage thing, which I do like. And I know The Sims has some collages, but they just don't have the same tone as these. Like, for me, I feel like some of the collages look too perfect, or they're not the right vibe for the room. Like, they're very specific for whatever pack they came out of, and I actually end up using one of the collages that The Sims gives you from what is the pack? I wish I could remember the pack is, but you'll see it in the bedroom. It looks really good in the bedroom, but it's not something that I could use in every room to kind of fill that space. And I also appreciate when the pictures change as well. Like, sometimes I want the same picture in a different frame, but other times I do want like different pictures with like the same color frame that the original came on. So yeah. This is me upstairs thinking, am I done downstairs enough to come and tackle this? Yes, I am. Let's try and tackle it. I originally put the door on, well, the door to the bathroom on the upper half of the house on that side. But then I was like, first of all, I decided I wanted to build a laundry room because that's just reality. And second of all, I would not want to sleepwalk around the stairs to get to the bathroom at night. So it was more of like I am a human with with clumsy tendencies. I also realized, even though it has even though it has like this fencing around the stairs or the railings, realistically, you're not often just walking up the stairs into someone's bedroom. So no, it doesn't have a door. But I think it looks better without it. You know, it's on the top floor. So if you knew it would be different if the bedroom was on the second floor and you had to walk up to the top to get something else. Like, you would probably have a hallway. But I think in this case, I was like, first of all, I don't have the room, but also second of all, I forgot a trash can and then I put a dumpster outside, which makes sense to me because you would have horse poop. But then also, I just didn't feel like the hallway made a lot of sense in this case. You just wouldn't go all the way up if it was somebody's bedroom and you weren't invited, right? Right. Now, realistically, could I have put a wall on the second floor to get, to the living room versus the second floor? Like, maybe, but I still feel like it doesn't really solve anything because you're still going to have to, like, if you go up on the third floor, you're still going to go and just walk into somebody's bedroom. So anyway, this is me adjusting the layout a little bit to have a bigger bathroom with double sinks, because that is also one thing that I absolutely have to have moving forward. In all the houses that we have rented, I think only one of them has come with double sinks, and I have to say I was so spoiled because I loved having my own little area. Whereas right now we have 0 counter space and a single sink in a bathroom that we can both just turn around each other in, which is super stressful. So since this is the ideological, like, perfect house, not perfect, that's for sure, but kind of like imagining what I would want, I did make sure there were double sinks, and I also made sure there was a laundry room on the top floor, because the other thing that I don't like is, not that I do the laundry, God love my husband, but I have always dreamed of having like a closet on the top floor to do all of the washing and stuff. My mom actually has that in her house, and it's so nice because you could literally like take a shower, throw your clothes in the washing room, and be done. Like, you don't have to worry about a hamper or climbing downstairs with the hamper or falling down the stairs with the hamper full of clothes. I will not verify whether that has happened or not. Just know it's a problem. So I just wanted to keep it, authentic to what I would want and what is best for all of us and our safety. So here, just cluttering a bit. For some reason, I decided that the left sink was mine and the right sink was my husband's. So I don't know why, that's just the one that I wanted. Realistically, though, if we were in the bathroom together, we would still like bump butts here, but that's okay. We got padding back there, it works out. And then just me adjusting to have toothbrushes, because you gotta have those. Also, the mirrors that I have in this room are different than the ones in the other bathrooms, but I really liked them in here for some reason. And then I never went back to look at any of the other ones, so they didn't change. So the mirrors are a little bit different, but hey, the bathroom's a little bit different too. And I think it kind of works with what we have going on here. And I changed the color of the toothbrushes, and then I realized, oh wait, I want to be on the left, so I made mine pink or something. I don't know. And then going back to these curtains, this is where I realized that I have these curtain options. Look at this. The original's plaid or whatever, and I used it in the laundry room, but like look how, okay, first of all, because the hardware for the most part in this house is kind of gold, it works so much better because the hardware here is gold. And also the look, it looks like, it's hard to describe. The other one just kind of looked ratty, but this looks so good. And I love that I found that it had other colors and not just the plaid, even though I do use the plaid a little bit. And I end up going with these curtains for those kinds of windows throughout the rest of the house. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I will be reusing these curtains forever because they're fantastic. And then this is me also trying to figure out how else I want to fill this space. Because it just felt really blank. And I definitely wanted to be able to have a little bit of, you know, clutter and things in here as well. So I got like the little basket hamper, the little towels, and whatever other things. I found that soap and just put it randomly on the counter and never thought about it again. I hate that it's just there. I definitely would have put it on the other side of the sink, but here we are again in the future, unable to do anything. And then this is also me remembering that I don't have to fill every little space. But I think I end up getting rid of that on, yeah, because I was trying to fill this bottom space, but then I was like, nah, that's stupid. And then I was like, oh, well, I'll put the laundry, like the dirty laundry, like next to the hamper, like whatever. And I was like, no, that should go in the laundry room. And then I'll just, you know, put these shirts. So it's kind of like right before and then the after. How cute is that? And, I think that's it for the bathroom, except for like the lighting. Yeah, I just end up putting this pendant light in here. I think it looks fine. It didn't need to be fancy. And then we finally get to the last room in the house. Holla holla, you have been here for over an hour now. Congratulations. You've made it so far into this build. I'm so sorry it's taking so long, but hopefully you've enjoyed it so far. This is the final room that we kind of make over. And then we have a couple of like last minute tweaks. And then I did kind of figure out how to do a sort of walkthrough, but you're gonna have to bear with me because I absolutely suck at it, okay? I'm getting better at the whole tab first person view kind of situation, so please just bear with me. The walkthrough isn't great. And then I also show the house in all the different lighting styles. So like, you know, it's currently midday, I think is what I set it at. And I love this wallpaper, by the way. But I think it's like midday or whatever, but I show like morning, midday, afternoon, evening, night, etc. So that you can see all the lights on the outside and see what it looks like. Because I think that's really cool too. It's like really fun. I also really enjoyed going through some of the new packs. So previous to the Daisy Bloom build that we did first, I didn't have all the packs I currently have. So I think with this, that dresser or the armoire and like the desk that I have over there, vanity thing, I don't think I had the packs that those were in previously, but I love the look. It's the same look as the chairs that I have outside, and it's also, I think, the same pack that the computer desk is from as well, which I also love. And I just really enjoy, I don't usually work with gold because I'm usually a silver girly at heart, but I loved the way the yellow tones played off of each other, and I just had a really good time with some of this new, these new items and these new packs. Love these side tables. I didn't even give those a second thought. As soon as I saw them, for some reason, I was like, these need to be on my wall immediately. And then I also have aspirations to have like clean side tables, and I would love to have these pendant lights on the side instead of like lamps. That's what I would really like, especially in a permanent home, because then they can just stay there forever and all I have to do is change the light bulbs and I don't have to worry about knocking a lamp over. And I say me, but realistically it's like I don't have to worry about my cats knocking the lamp over because they are doing their shenanigans and things. So anyway, this is me going back downstairs to put yet something else on that poor entry table, but then again, whose entry table isn't absolute chaos, if I'm being honest. Those of you who have entry tables, leave a comment and let me know how chaotic it is, because mine is terrible. So this is me just giving the side tables a little bit of love. I put some cat beds up here, of course, and then finagle a beautiful little carpet. Again, I'm trying really hard to play off the color but not be tied to it. I hope that I did somewhat of a good job. I feel like the vanity in the chair makes sense because you know, you might buy those things together and so they match, but like the carpet obviously isn't the same shade, the side tables aren't the same shade of blue, the bed does have a little bit of yellowish tone to it, but it's not like perfectly yellow. And then you would have these randomly, like the cat beds that are yellow and things like that. Oh, this is the collage. I love that one. I think it looks so good. I ended up going with the gold because again, it's like tones and I feel like it just played really well. I reused those curtains because I feel like they look really well with the rest of the theme. Yeah, I'm just giving little kitty cats some bands. And then, I think, yeah, I'm trying to fill this corner. Again, I know you don't have to fill every space, but something about these side corners being completely blank kind of made me a little let me feel a little bit type of way. And I kept moving around that tapestry because I really wanted to use it. I end up not using it because it just doesn't fit with the other things that I end up doing in the space. Because here I am, like I said earlier, like this kind of ends up being a little bit of dead space. I'm like, well, what the heck do I put there? Do I add more storage? We only have one armoire. And so I just kind of play around with it a little bit because realistically, right, like my husband and I are both sharing this room and I currently have a dresser to myself and he currently has a dresser to himself. We each have separate closets, etc. So I kind of feel like it makes sense to have more than one, and that's where I found this armoire and I'm like, this will be perfect. So finally fixed that. And then again, just here trying to see what else could fit here, if anything. And I think I end up giving up on this side. I'm like, nah, the plant's fine. And I want to build like a little sitting nook where you could like put on, you know, socks or shoes or hang out with the cats or read in the evenings or something. I think I end up putting like a little nail kit or something on that stool thing or poof or whatever it is, which super cute because you could sit at the window looking out into the beautiful nature, doing your nails. I also don't put a TV in the bedroom. Realistically, I do have one in our bedroom. But again, there wasn't really a place to put it. And if I were going to put it at the end of the bed, I feel like that is way too close to have a TV. I also don't put an ottoman at the end of the bed, which I kind of regret. I did think about it. And then just in the end decided against it. It just, I feel like it would make the space a little tighter, but I think realistically in the future, I have a footboard now, but if I ever had a bed like this, where there's just, you know, nothing at the end, I would definitely want like some kind of ottoman or something. And I think the final touches here is just getting this settled out. I also go downstairs and adjust that gardening table just a little bit, and move that around just to kind of finish out the space. But I think it looks fantastic as is. This is me trying to decide what I want to do with that because I found it and I love it and I want to use it. I don't end up using it. It just doesn't work out because I do end up going for the functional flowers thing. I guess you can like, I haven't done this, but you can like make your own flower arrangements or whatever. So I end up doing that instead. And I think what could be cool if you wanted is you could use the flower table and then your sim could buy a selling table and do it that way. Excuse me. And, you know, see, then I'm just like, oh, well, I could just use the real one. It's not as, I wish that this more downtrodden one, this like down on its luck version, I wish that you could also build the arrangements off of, but I don't think you can. I think it's strictly decoration. So anyway, that is the whole build. I save it because heaven forbid I forget to do that after all of that work. And now we're gonna go through the walkthrough. So we started the barn, of course, and again, just bear with me. It's not perfect. This is me trying to get the right angle to go into the tack shop. So it's a tight space, but it's a cute space. I feel like it works. It's a simple tack room. You got everything that you need. You got the hanging thing there. You've got the saddle and then whatever things that you need in the giant chest in there. Cute, but you know, a fairly accurate room that you would have. Then we have our cute little stable. I see a plant going through the wall. That's cool. This, again, stable, pretty simple. We've got the fridge in there for like the eggs from the chickens. We've got, of course, a water basin and things like that, which I just think make the most sense. The water trough and the hay trough, of course, for when you have your little horsey come and live with you. Overall, super cute. And then I think I'd take us to the backyard. Yes. Okay, there's the chicken chicken coop. It is cute and a coop. So yes, we go to the backyard. I think this looks so nice. I do like the way that it turned out. I think it looks super lovely. Everything kind of has its space, but it's still really cohesive together. And that little chicken guy, he does spew water. I don't know if it waters your plants or not, but it does actually function. But yeah, super cozy. Nice little grill area. Nothing too crazy. And then I think we go to the front. So I'll tab out and take us to the front of the lot so that we can act like we're walking through the front door, which is super pretty with the flowers. Love it, love it. This is me trying to remember how to use the tab after immediately tabbing out of it and then making myself nauseous, because the other thing that you need to know about me is I don't do first person anything because it immediately makes me want to go vom somewhere because of the way it's like some equilibrium something. But anyway, you walk into this beautiful kitchen. Ah, beautiful. And then if you hang a left, that's the coat closet. But I think we go to the right first, which is our cute little bathroom. And you'll see the ceiling's completely blank, but I still think it's fine. It's just, you know, stereotypical ceiling. It's chill. Nothing too much in the bathroom. I mean, it's just a bathroom. Also, sometimes in this view, pieces do glitch out. So if you see like the ceiling or, you know, something that's missing, like it's still there. It's just this terrible view. Our cute, we're in the closet. Pretty simple in here too. I think it still adds something. It's pretty authentic to like what you would imagine a real house. And then we take the stairs to heaven because in this view you also can't go up to the second floor. Or at least I haven't figured out how to yet. So I'm going to take you through here. Act like we just came up the stairs. Beautiful, lovely. We see this gorgeous bookshelf with all the little knickknacks. Our amazing living room. I finally learned how to zoom out, so that's what I did there. We're learning together. I think this is a really cozy living room. You'll see the desk disappeared and then it reappeared when I tabbed back out of it. But I love the layout. I love the look. I love how everything came together. I do think it looks really good. You know, despite having to make all those adjustments. But I would argue that's kind of like the fun of doing the builds, right? Because you can get halfway through and be like, I don't like this. And you can scrap it or adjust it and it just kind of works out, which is very fun. I love this little nook. I love that they had that little triangle table. This is the view, guys. See, this is what I'm talking about, glitches and all. What a gorgeous view if you were to just like come up here and sit. Oh, it's just so lovely. This is kind of like Arizona view, honestly. Like the Midwest in America is what that kind of looks like. Arizona's gorgeous. See, don't even pay attention to the curtain that's now disappeared. And then our final floor, the top floor, where I get lost in the sauce and forget where I am and don't know how to get out of it. There we are. So coming up the stairs to the second floor, really gorgeous, beautiful. I love the way that it turned out with the wallpaper. I love the theme in here. It feels very light with those huge windows. If you play in this, I can't imagine how beautiful the sunset and stuff would look through those windows. But a very simple room, a very spacious room, and then a very generous bathroom. Love this as well. It's all pretty cohesive, looks good together. You got your laundry room over here with everything that's disappeared inside, but I think I like tab back out so you can re-see everything that's in there. And that's it, guys. That's the whole build. I do this little once over. I also again will show you the lighting and all the different you know, visions of the house at the different times of day. I hope you enjoyed this build. I had a great time doing it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are able to find it at She's the Moose on the gallery if you want to use it. And if you do, please leave a comment either in the gallery or on this video. And I'll see you in the next one.